One of the little treasures at the moment is a handwritten poem by Liam O'Flaherty and a Blaha Craig. Probably only known really for two of his poems, but this was a copy of a poem he handwrote in 1952. The original was written in the 1920s, it was published in the 1920s, and he wrote this and dedicated it to a local lady who used to be a customer of mine but sadly passed away a few years ago. And so it's a little treasure. You don't often see things handwritten by any Irish author, let alone one of stature in the west of Ireland as Liam O'Flaherty. We're blessed with a wonderful woodland right next to the village here. It's now grown up. There's cycling, horse riding, all manner of activities take place. Historically, it's very important, and that was mentioned to you, the Treaty of Windsor was signed by the Abbot of Cong, brought back to Cong, where Rory O'Connor was living at the Abbey, effectively partitioned Ireland back in the 12th century, and led ultimately to the downfall of Ireland and suppression by the Anglo-Normans. So its role back in the 12th century was extremely important politically. It wasn't really then until we got into the 19th century Cong was important in terms of the land reform movement. The Land League was founded in Castlebar, but significant members were drawn from the local area, and there was a great deal of agitation. Our priest, Father Lavelle, Patrick Lavelle, was known as the Patriot Priest of Patry, but he actually served his final years here. He was a radical land reformer. The area was also known for agitation during the early days of the Fenian movement in the 1880s. There were a number of murders in the area. Land agent of the Ardalons, the Guinness family at Ashford, and his nephew were murdered while they were on their way to serve a notice on a tenant. Lord Mountmorris was murdered just out the road going back to his estate. The Mantrasna murders have been in the media recently again and were extremely significant at the time. The premises you're standing in at the moment today, Ryan's Hotel, back then the Carlisle Arms Hotel, there was not a shootout, but a teacher for the Gaelic Association was shot by a sergeant upstairs in the hotel. Patrick Pierce stayed here. He was in meetings with the local teacher. Who knows what they were discussing. It kind of began to achieve more prominence again for a period during the Celtic Revival, and then went quiet until we got to 1951 when a film was made, and it became the Quiet Man. We have as well many books. You look around, you see Oscar Wilde and Yeats. We have first editions as well as modern readable editions. We introduce many Irish writers, some of them disappearing as well, to the many visitors to the village, many overseas visitors who might not have been exposed to them. Local interest section covers everything from very local books, a book I wrote about Cong here and the history of the village, books about Galway and Mayo. We're right on the county boundaries, so that's also a fierce rivalry. Oscar Wilde's father, William Wilde, his grandfather was from the local area, and he built a house in the local area, so we have his books in the shop. We specialise in fishing books, so we have books going back hundreds of years, as well as the latest in Irish fishing books in the shop. Regular customers come in looking for either latest tips in fly patterns or to know what was happening 200 years ago in fishing. So we also stock a lot of kind of general antiquarian books, and people like them for the covers if nothing else, but also a lot of classics from Dickens and Robinson Crusoe, things ranging from Maria Edgeworth and Goldsmith right through to contemporary modern first editions, signed first editions. All aspects of Irish history really, from prehistory right up until the present day. We have Irish novels, many out-of-print novels, major literary authors like John Banville, Sebastian Barry, Colin Trevine, William Trevor. We have first edition copies, Edna O'Brien, signed first editions, but also reading copies of many of their titles which are sadly out of print. And lots of Irish children's books to choose from, as well as many older books. And then, like many other bookshops, we'd have natural history, theology, philosophy, arts, crime fiction, science fiction, general fiction. So just walking around. A big sports section. And general history, we have lots of general history books going back down the years, and we lump together travel and history because so many of our travel books are historical. They might be travel that took place 100, 200 years ago, as much as travel books from the last 10 years. But lots of biographies, standard cookbooks in military history as well, let's say. We have military history books covering many periods, from books about 400 years old. And we have a very large antiquarian section, ranging from old bound copies of magazines and sets of books up into, as I mentioned already, first edition copies, also Irish history books from many periods of Irish history. And we have a fair turnover in stock, so there's always something new coming in and something going out. Ooh, I think I would take all the history books home with me if I got a chance, but I don't think my wife would let me. So.